You're listening to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Are you tired of the I can't mindset? The I'm not good enough mindset? Do you feel like your negative thoughts control your life? Well, you came to the right place, because in the next 30 minutes, you will learn how to break free from the limiting mindset of anxiety, fear, victimization, depression, trauma, and self-hatred by reprogramming your subconscious mind. It's time to master your mind with Dr. Erika.
Hello, good people, and welcome to Master Your Mind with Dr. Erika. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is a good day. I just want everyone to stop, if you are able to, and just take a deep breath. Just breathe it all in and just fill your lungs, fill your diaphragm, and just release it slowly. Yes. Just one more deep breath and release. Yes, knowing that you are alive, that you are living, and that's why today is a good day. And I'm excited. I'm so excited, you guys. I have been working on I'm a psychologist with 25 years of experience practicing in the field of mental health, and I have been working the last year on getting credentialed as an RTT therapist. That's a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, and it's the model created by Marissa Peer, who is the number one therapist in the UK. And I have to tell you, it has been a phenomenal learning experience, and I'm excited to be able to offer that, because as I was talking with my special guest, Walter Zajac, who is here for part two, is that there are so many different modalities of healing in awareness and transformation that we don't know about, that we're still learning about, that me as a therapist, as a psychologist, am learning about through the guests that I invite on my show, but also in my continued education to become a better psychologist, a better supporter of everyone that I work with's mental and emotional health. And so I just want you to really, get excited about the possibilities of how there are so many different modalities that you can get the help that you need, that you can get the support that you need. And on that note, I'm actually starting a support group for women, and really just focused on whatever it is you bring. Whatever you bring to the table to talk about, to share, is perfect. You are worthy, you're enough, you're deserving, and I just want everyone to know that, to hear it over and over and over again until it sinks in and you believe it. Um, and so please check out my website, Healthy Minds, HealthyMinds .expert, where you can learn about the support group, you can learn about the RTT therapy, also the coaching that I'm doing, and read about the articles that I write monthly in the FET Lifestyle magazine. I actually was on the cover this month as one of the power moms, and it was so exciting because I've never done any kind of like photo shoot, but I did that for the first time, and I have to tell you, as it was ending, I kind of felt like I was just getting started. So it was really exciting. Shout out to my good friend DC, who is the publisher of the digital magazine. And so again, I always got to mention CBD, because I cannot say how much me as a daily user of CBD, the tincture, my go-to is the 500 hempranium tincture. And then I love the power gummies for restorative sleep. But, I just always educate my clients that I work with on the benefits and the support that CBD gives to reducing those anxiety symptoms, reducing the stress symptoms, helping with the sleep and the restorative sleep, so that when you wake up, you feel like you're renewed, you're refreshed, and you're able to look at the day with new eyes. And so please go to my website. All of that information is there, healthyminds.expert. And so without further ado, I am welcoming back to my show for part two Walter Zajac. And Walter's new book is They Came Beyond Deja Vu. And the book is an amazing book. You wouldn't know it when you read it. It reads like a novel, but it's actually the true story of his life. And he is a renowned psychic. The book is In His Pain. His it's They Came Beyond Deja Vu. In his pain, this child drew visions to him of two young women suffering trauma and loneliness, visions of real instances years before that those women were born, right? It is so powerful. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about him. If you go to his website, psychicwalter.com, he is trained in as a certified professional tarot reader. He is certified as a neuro linguistic programming practitioner. He is certified as a Reiki master, and he has spent decades studying the works from the world's largest teachers of spirituality, metaphysics, the amazing law of attraction, psychology, and layman's knowledge of quantum physics. And so he has a very deep understanding of life and love relationships. And he's lived and worked in 13 different countries, including both coasts of the United States. He's learned from and been inspired by souls of many races, many cultures, and many spiritual paths. He's had hundreds of dreams and psychic visions come true back to his earliest memories, and he's received psychic information and interacted with the world of spirits all of his life. And his clients describe him as being highly perceptive, an accurate psychic, a wonderful listener, heart open hearted, inspiring, uplifting, wise, non judgmental, an honest, real psychic, and sincere, loving in all that he does. And so I just want to welcome back for part two. Thank you so much for joining me, Walter. It's exciting to have you back.
Thank you, Dr. Erika. I'm happy to see you again. I really enjoy your enthusiasm, your passion. I love your philosophy that we are more powerful than we believe. And I remember seeing on your website your t-shirts, and the two that stood out were infinite possibilities and enjoy life, right? That totally resonates with me.
Yeah, and I said this time around for part two, I really wanted to talk a little bit more about that psychic, power, and this is really what you were created to do. This is just came natural because of all of the trauma and the horrors that you suffer. But can you talk a little bit about that? Because I want to dispel this myth that psychic is some voodoo or some woo woo, and that it really is a part of being human that maybe we're just not tapped into.
Yeah, it is absolutely a part of being human. I believe my understanding, my observation is that basically we're all psychic at the very least in our potential. And what I base that on is I have noticed, and I've studied other religions, and I've noticed that every major religion on our planet and almost every tribal religion has some form of two principles that are universal. The first is some form of we are created in the image and likeness of the Creator, which means we are creators, and image and likeness is like an actual exact copy, CD-ROM copy, right? Not a carbon copy, exact copy. So at the very least in our potential, we have the potential to be exactly like the Creator. The second principle is that this Creator gave us absolute free will. And in order to create, we have to have absolute free will. And sure, there are rules and laws of morality, and yet look around, clearly we're free to create anything and everything that we want. Right? And our jails are full of people that did. and but the Creator, and we are creators, the Creator is, among many other things, all knowing. And what is all knowing? If you know everything, then yeah, that's tuning into all knowledge. That is being psychic. And so at the very least, all of us humans in our potential, we can tap into that being exactly like the creator and open up to our psychic ability. And that means every one of us. And my observation too is it's pretty hard to run into somebody who hasn't had some kind of an experience with déjà vu, right? And to me, déjà vu means a dream coming true, and at the very least in people's awareness is, this is familiar, right? This place looks familiar. This feels like this has happened before, right? And in French, I don't speak French, but it means something along the lines of here again, right? Or this again, right? And the people in the audience who speak French will correct me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody, I believe, is psychic. And I believe that everybody has had the kind of experience that I had, which I wrote about in my book. And that is that, we are experiencing what we think is a normal life. And within that normal life of our everyday stuff, hardships, and so many people have experienced abandonment and emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. And so we become really focused and preoccupied with that. And we forget that we actually have, like you say, infinite possibilities. We forget we are more powerful than we believe. And my point is that when any of us has a quote unquote psychic experience, there's no announcement. This is a psychic experience. It feels normal, right? It feels just as normal as all the crap we're going through. And that normal gives us information, gives us insight from our higher selves, from our angel guides, if you believe in that, from God, goddess, from somewhere, from the universe, from somewhere, and it's accurate information. And again, if we're created in the image and likeness of the creator, we have the potential to know everything.
Yeah.
And we're all that way, more powerful, like you say, than we believe.
Yeah. And I love that because I think that, because of your experiences, you talked about living within, like your world outside in the physical realm was so horrific that you withdrew to the internal world to find solace. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that helped you tap into the
Absolutely.
inner knowing?
Yeah. The the two that you talked about in the introduction were imaginary friends, right? But as a child, you don't realize these are imaginary friends. The experiences, most psychic experiences, like I just mentioned, they seem normal. There's no announcement that this is an imaginary friend. There's just this entity that you're interacting with. And I saw vivid details of a traumatic that each of these girls had, and when they were my imaginary friends, they were in their teenage years. And I saw this vividly, this traumatic experience over and over in exact detail. And I interacted with them on other occasions, relatively often, right? And what kids do is, my goodness, kids are so in their own awareness usually. And when we're 5 years old, 6 years old, and younger, we're still very much in tune with the spirit world where we came from a few years ago. And um, the I would see them in dreams, in visions, and like when you're about to fall asleep, you have this vision, and it seems very, very real, and it was. And I wasn't aware that that it was imaginary, right? So that was already happening before the orphanage, and I didn't know that I was going to an orphanage. My mother was dying of cancer. Everybody in the family knew it. I didn't know it. I thought I was going on an exciting train ride. At the end of a train ride, I arrived at a place called orphanage, which was a word I'd never heard before, and was told I would never be going home again. And yeah, absolutely. That's when I realized that the outside world was completely unacceptable, unbelievable. There was no place to put that within my catalog of understanding of reality. And so I turned to the psychic world where I already was. And like I said, where all of us are basically when we're that young, We still have that capacity. And it was, I later found out from my psychologist in my 40s that, wow, that was me from my higher self perspective, manifesting these two women in my life who, and we haven't said this in this interview, it was in the last interview, who actually became real people in my life when I was 44.
Wow.
And my psychologist said, first of all, Walter, you're psychic. You're not crazy. You're psychic. And what you did was you manifested these two entities in order to have somebody to take with you from home to the orphanage, in order to bring you comfort really for the rest of your childhood up until my teen years. Um, and um, and then I was adopted after a year by people who were abusive, and being in the psychic world was my comfort and my rescue and my refuge from that. And again, relating to the audience, I believe that so many of us do that kind of thing. We turn inward, and what is inward? It's our thoughts. What are our thoughts, right? They're not a physical manifestation. Our thoughts literally are a world that we're creating. And then of course, quantum physics says now, and more people accept that yeah, we're creating the universe at every given moment. When we turn around, we just created what's there. There's raw information, but the way we see it and create it is unique. Somebody else is going to turn around and sees different stuff. And even us, the second time I turn around, I'll see something I didn't see the first time. Why? I didn't create it the first time.
I love that. It's so interesting that you talk about how everyone has a different perception of the world or what they see because they're actually creating it from their five senses and from their sensory kind of perception. And it's the same as me telling the clients that I work with and anyone out there listening is you are so unique. You are as unique as the fingerprint. Unique as the thoughts and how you process information. Unique as the perspective from your upbringing, your childhood, those core beliefs that were kind of implanted, right, by everyone external, not the internal, the external, and that's what makes you completely different and uncomparable.
And I've read 3 books on quantum physics, and I don't have a physicist's understanding. I have a basic layman's understanding of quantum physics. But another example is, and this is relating to people in the audience. I'm sure that you've had an experience where you'll say that this color is aqua. Somebody else says, no, it's not, that's blue. And somebody else will say, no, it's not, that's green, right? And you'll never convince the other two that it's aqua. Why? Because they're creating it as green and blue, and I'm creating it as aqua.
Yeah.
And I know people have run into that. And even with memories of Aunt Bertha's birthday party, right? Somebody will remember an event and somebody else will remember the event completely differently. And it's the truth for both of them. Both of them had that experience because they created it that way.
Absolutely. One of the things that you talked about in the therapy that you did as an adult, you found a lot of the transformational work came from you loving the little Walter inside.
Yeah.
Can you
Thank you.
talk a little bit about that?
I would like to. Thank you. That was the thing that my psychologist brought to me that helped the most. And it's the thing in my work with clients that comes up pretty much in every session. I'm sure that happens with you too, is that most of us find it difficult, if not impossible, to feel this sense of loving ourselves. Looking in the, we're told, look in the mirror, look in your eyes in the mirror and say, I love you, Dr. Erika. I love you, Walter, right? I couldn't do that. And so many people, if not most people, can't. Why? Because we have been beaten down and had limitations and told that we're not worthy, et cetera, for so many years that, I can't love. And then in my case, I was sent to an orphanage. Clearly, I wasn't worthy. Nobody loved me. So why would I love myself? And what I run into, and I felt, and what so many other people in our audience feel is, well, I don't want to have to love me. I want other people to love me, right? And we forget that when I'm falling in love, I want her to believe I'm amazing. right? Oh my God, please believe I'm amazing. And yet, if I don't believe I'm amazing with self-love, then when she says you're amazing, Walter, I'm going to think she's either manipulating me or she's stupid because I know I'm not amazing. And that, I believe, is real common among our audience. And so what helped me was learning to, first of all, tune into what happened to little me, right? And again, this relates to everybody in the audience. What happened to us? Most of us have had abandonment on some level, you know, whether dad was never home or whether he actually left or somebody died, parents died, or physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. We all have things to overcome. And um, getting in tune with our 5-year-old self. At 5 years old, we're sweet, we're precious, we're innocent, and we want nothing more than just to be loved. And most of us, if not all of us, didn't get enough of that. And so when we tune into, when I tuned into little Walter, and my psychologist had walked me through this, it took me a long time to get there because I thought, well, this is a waste of time, right? But the moment that she had me realize how sweet and precious and innocent and beautiful that I was as a little kid, tears started streaming down my face. And I realized, oh my God, I was beautiful. I was beautiful. I wasn't not worthy of love. And then when I realized that I was beautiful and realized that I'm still that little kid, then I connected those dots and realized, oh, wow, adult Walter is beautiful. Oh, wow. And then more tears, right? But that's the key. And as far as looking into our eyes in the mirror, I eventually realized that if I look into Walter's eyes in the mirror and see little Walter's eyes, I love him right away. There's nothing wrong with him. He's beautiful. And I recommend that to everybody.
Wow. That's so, this is an intuitive thing because as a psychologist, I've always, working with my clients, I've always, when I was in person, I would have them look, I had a mirror in my office and I would have them look in the mirror and talk to themselves.
Yeah.
Because, like you were saying, a lot of times we're not taught how to love ourselves. How do we love ourselves? What is love?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's something powerful when you're looking at yourself or you're saying, affirming that you're valuable, you're affirming you're enough, affirming you're worthy and deserving. It just
Yeah.
has such a empowering impact on you.
Mhm.
Speak about that. Speak about love and this spiritual connection. What is love?
Good question. My understanding and perception of love is, well, in the Christian tradition, it says God is love. And for me, well, if, you know, mathematically, if A equals B, then B equals A, right? So in this case, love equals God, goddess. And chi in the Buddhist tradition, prana in the Hindu tradition, that force, that's love, that universal force. Einstein called it the universal field and was wanting to discover what the heck is that, because quantum particles appear from nothingness. Where do they come from, right? That is the universal field. And quantum particles are only particles when somebody's looking. The rest of the time, it's just a frequency. And so the essence of our reality is frequencies, according to quantum physics. And love, frequency, right? Chi, prana, frequencies. And to me, love is tuning into our spiritual essence, tuning into that part of us, and really all of us, if we can go there, that is God, goddess, right? Created in the image and likeness of. And when we connect, when I look into my lover's eyes, when I have one, is my girlfriend's eyes when I have one, is if I feel stuff. right? When I look into her eyes, and people will say, well, that's the mirror of her soul. But for me, it's way beyond that, because what's this feeling, right? It's not physical. What's this feeling? Why do I feel this when I look into her eyes? And what I have come to understand is I'm tuning into the universe through her eyes, and I'm feeling the love of the entire universe, which is coming through her. And when she opens herself up to that, and I do too, then we are in a pure state of love. And then in the everyday world, personalities and experience and likes and dislikes get in the way. But when we are in that space of, oh my God, you are the universe, then it's pure. And the to me, the ideal relationship is based on that, and based on the fact that you're the universe to me, you are God, goddess to me. And when I have everyday problems that are difficult in our understanding of each other, if I allow myself to be aware that, no, I love you because you're the universe, then I'm going to be much nicer in our everyday conversation when there's tension.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds me of how when we're in relation to each other, it's that unconditional love that no matter if we're disappointed, if we're angry, if we're whatever emotion or whatever situation might come, when you go back to the love and you go back to the love connection,
Yeah,
then you say, okay, well, they're human too. So they're fallible just like me.
yeah,
And it's easier to go back to love when you kind of acknowledge a person's humanness, which to me, I always thought of human as being fallible. Like we were created to make mistakes. It's kind of like a trial and error learning.
yeah. And
But
that is creating, right? In other words, we create and we realize, well, that's not working, so we create something else. It wasn't a mistake, because what we learned from the first attempt was, well, that doesn't work. It's still information that's valuable, because you wouldn't know how to do the second attempt unless you had done the first one that you're calling a mistake, right?
it is so funny because I always tell people who use the word fail, I say there's no such thing as failure. What
Yeah.
I define as failure is something that I got from one of my good friends, Terry Lynn. She says it's a first attempt in learning. So it's impossible to fail
Yeah.
because you're just first attempt in learning in
Yep.
whatever that new thing is.
And that, for me, brings up regret. Regret is completely useless. If I regret that I did that the first one, then I also have to recognize that I don't know how to do the second attempt, because I didn't learn what I needed to learn. And if we regret anything that we did in our past lives, we have to, and want to eliminate it, then we have to also accept that, well, that eliminates every piece of knowledge and experience that I gained from that, every piece of understanding that I gained from that quote unquote regretted mistake, right? So to me, there cannot be regrets. Every event, and that's actually one of the principles of NLP, everything that happens to us is useful. And another thing I love about NLP, neuro linguistic programming, is if what you're doing isn't working, do something else. Don't get upset about it, don't get mad at it or at the people. Do something else.
Or the outcome.
Yeah, yeah. Do something else if it's not working, and be kind to yourself. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And give yourself permission to make mistakes. Give yourself permission to
Yeah,
change your mind, to
yeah,
decide, I don't like that Erica from before. I want this new Erica.
yes.
I don't like that old pattern or behavior or outcome. I want this outcome. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Are there any other just share with my listeners where they can learn more about you, about your book, about what you do, and then any other last words of wisdom?
Okay. My website is psychicwalter.com, and you can get information about my services and about me and about the book there. The book, They Came Beyond Deja Vu, is available on Amazon as a paperback, as a Kindle, and an audiobook, which I narrate.
Nice.
Yeah. And my it's what you do too. And that is my biggest thrill, is empowering somebody that hasn't known how to allow themselves to give themselves permission to be powerful in their world. And in every session, and my handle on the internet is the Empowerment Psychic. And I'm going to do so much more than predict the future. I'm going to tell you the path that you're on and tell you how to make it better for yourself.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming back on, Walter. It's always a pleasure to have you. I love learning from you, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Erika. You're fun and you're inspiring. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Master Your Mind with Dr. Erika. We will be back next with another terrific episode that will allow you to master your mind. Please visit hemphappier.com for more information about Dr. Erika and CBD oil. See you next week.